Hello, dear traders. Tomorrow the new week starts, and in this video we will analyze the Forex and crypto market based on economic news and technical analysis. I hope you had a good weekend and have successful deals in the coming week. I emphasize again that don't forget capital management and risk management because the market is always accompanied by unforeseen events. We will start the Forex analysis in the next week by looking at the last week. Again, last week, many parameters related to economic news that were determined in the previous period were reviewed and changed. As a result, what we had on the economic calendar last week changed during the week. For this reason, I invite you to visit the Porsaj Forex Academy site during the week and do not miss the economic calendar changes. Because the numbers and parameters we have in the economic calendar are a very important and good guide for a trader. Based on the economic news last week, the dollar was relatively good, and as you can see, the currency pairs that had the dollar in their first part such as USDJPY, USDCHF and USDCAD had positive news, and the currency pairs that had the US dollar in their second part, most of them had negative news. Before looking at the economic calendar next week, we will analyze the DXY index to see the trend of changes in the US dollar. As you can see, at the support level introduced last week, the fall of the US dollar has almost stopped and the rate of decline has decreased due to the positive news on the US dollar. Here we have to wait to see what awaits us next week. Will this support level be broken, or will the US dollar react to this support level, and the decline in the value of the dollar in the past few months is just a correction and its upward trend will continue? Well, let's take an economic look at next week to see what tomorrow is waiting for us. As you can see, based on the forecasts, we have the most positive news for GBPUSD, which we expect a big increase with +7 points. On Tuesday, we expect -3 points from economic news for this currency pair, and on other days we expect positive news every day. Contrary to last week, predictions on the economic news of the US dollar next week are not positive. As a result, economic news forecasts for all currency pairs that have the US dollar in their second part, such as gold against the US dollar and the British pound against the US dollar and various cryptocurrencies against the US dollar, are all positive. On the other hand, all currency pairs that have the US dollar in their first part have negative economic news for them, such as the US dollar against the Swiss franc, the US dollar against the Japanese yen, and the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. Looking at the total economic news of the last month, we can see that the euro has the most positive news with 6 points, and the US dollar and the British pound have the most negative news with -5 points in the last month. In addition, we can see that the Canadian dollar has had a total of negative economic news in the last month, and other currencies such as the New Zealand dollar, the Japanese yen, the Australian dollar, and the Swiss franc have had positive news. According to the past and future economic news and the summary done so far, we take a look at some currency pairs. First, we analyze the British pound against the US dollar. As you can see, we expect negative news on Tuesday and positive economic news in the following days. Looking at the economic news during the next week, we see that the forecasts are not in the same direction and the news is not completely positive or completely negative. Therefore, we do not expect sudden changes in one direction. In general, based on the negative news on Tuesday and the positive news in the following days, we expect this currency pair to have an upward trend in the next week. As a result, in the 4-hour time frame, after each correction and price reduction, we open a buying position by observing the appropriate settings for buying. It is the same with gold, and we expect negative news on Tuesday and positive economic news in the following days. As a result, we will wait for the correction and price reduction, and we will buy positions in suitable situations. Looking at the chart, it can be seen that this uncertainty is visible in the market. I prefer not to trade gold in the coming week and wait to see if the DXY support level is broken. But if I want to have a trade, I open a buying position only in the right situations when the conditions are available. The next currency pair we'll look at is the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar. As you can see, on all the days that we have economic news for this currency pair, the forecasts are negative. As a result, we expect the downward trend of this currency pair. However, we have to wait and see how these news will be realized, and if the predictions were correct, we can open a sell position after each correction. The next currency pair is the euro against the Swiss franc. Based on forecasts, we have negative news at the beginning of the week, and finally we have positive news on Friday. In general, they expect a downward trend for this currency pair. As a result, if this news comes true, we can open a sell position after any short-term upward trend and correction at the right time. For the US dollar against the Japanese yen, the news is generally negative. As a result, in appropriate situations, after breaking the trend line or after any price increase, which is only a correction, we take sell positions in appropriate situations. We can have the same analysis for the US dollar against the Swiss franc. Of course, note that on Tuesday, the forecast of economic news for this currency pair is slightly positive. But in general, after every correction or price increase, we can take a sell position in a suitable position. At the end, we come to cryptocurrencies and examine the Bitcoin chart as an example. As I said in the past, we have seen a good price increase for cryptocurrencies, which has led most analysts to conclude that this year will be a good year for cryptocurrencies. If you remember, I said that it is still too early to conclude whether this price increase of a few weeks is the beginning of a positive trend to see Bitcoin at the price of $100,000, or whether it is just a short-term correction and the downward trend in the price of cryptocurrencies will continue. But in the short term, looking at the 4-hour time frame, we can see that the price of Bitcoin has increased in recent hours, while the RSI chart is going down a little, and we can see a divergence in the ceiling. As a result, we can open a selling position for a short period of time by observing suitable conditions. Thank you for your attention. I hope you have a profitable week ahead. By visiting the Porsaj Forex Academy website, you can find out about the latest news and economic events, and also receive suitable buying and selling signals on different currency pairs.